Hey everybody, Lucas Carroll here from the Business of Senior Care. Hope everybody's having a great day. Today is part 5 in the video series about home care survey and plan a correction process. So today, we've gotten through the survey. The survey has exited. We have a decent idea on what the deficiencies or citations that may come back. And today we're going to talk about two important components. The first is that statement of deficiencies and those tags or citations that come back. And then it's the key dates that follow in our timeline through the rest of the process to get your agency back in compliance. And that's the key for this video, is maintaining compliance following those key dates so you can move as quickly as possible and then get your agency back in compliance and move on with your operations for day to day. So to do that, let's quickly take a look at a nice visual for what the survey process looks like and the timeline through the whole survey process. All right, here's the visual for the survey and plan a correction timeline. As you can see here, all the way on the left, it starts when the surveyor enters the doors. So when the survey starts, either in person, physically, or over the telephone, and either a complaint or recertification survey, when that survey starts, and then all the way over to the right is when the agency gets put back in compliance by the health department. Those are the two bookends of the survey and plan a correction process. And starting again on the left, the survey enters, the survey is conducted by the surveyor or survey team, and then at some point the survey exits. So on that day of exit, there's usually a conference with the agency manager about the initial findings, and then they physically leave the building or have concluded the survey portion of the process. Then 10 business days go by, and the department must issue their findings within 10 business days after the exit, in which you receive your statement of deficiencies. Then 10 calendar days after that, or less, the agency needs to submit the plan of correction no later than 10 calendar days. And then through unspecified time period, the department will review that plan of correction and either accept or deny it. Again, there's no regulation for a specified time period there. If it is accepted, you move to the next step. If it's rejected, then the department will be specific on what exactly in the POC they don't like that you can update or tweak or totally changed based on the feedback that they provide. Then after it's been accepted, the next step is the department will require compliance documentation. So the agency must submit specific documentation from the POC that is requested. And the reason for that is that the department wants to see proof that you're doing the plan of correction and you're fixing the problem. After that, when all of the compliance documentation has been reviewed, then the department will make the decision to put the agency back in compliance. And that means that the license is good, unencumbered, and the agency is able to operate as usual. Next, we'll take a look at a tool I developed that is an actual calendar that gets more specific on an example for a survey. And so you can see that from actual dates that might help during the process too. So let's take a look. Okay, here is a survey timeline calendar tool that I'll have available here in the links so that you can download. It's just a nice Word document that has a calendar feature that you can switch to different dates, and you can update just for each survey that you have. Currently, this is set on December of 2021. You can change that just by going up to the left-hand side on the top under calendar and click on calendar, and then you select new dates, and then you can select any month and any year that you want, and that will get you the correct dates with the correct days of the week, which is critical for business versus calendar days when you're calculating. Okay, so in this example here, we have that on December 1st is when survey entrance happened, when the survey started. So that's when somebody walked in the door, a surveyor, or they called on the telephone for a complaint or recertification survey. And aren't we lucky that they stayed Wednesday and then they came back on Thursday to continue the survey? And then at some point during the day on Thursday, December 2nd, they exited. They had an exit conference with the agency manager, and they exited the building to continue the survey process. Of course, it's not over when they exit. It's just that they're not physically there for you to see them and talk to them. So the next step in the process is to anticipate the department issuing the statement of deficiencies, and they have 10 business days in which to work to get you those statement of deficiencies. And so you don't, let's do some counting, but you don't count the day of the survey exit, and we're counting business days. So we start on Friday the 3rd. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So by Thursday, December 16th, that's the last day in which the department has to issue the statement of deficiencies to the agency. So that's just a list of deficiencies or citations that the agency received as a result of the survey. Once you receive that list, then the agency has 10 calendar days in which to develop a plan of correction and then submit it to the department. So let's count there. And again, we don't count the day that we received the deficiencies on the 16th. So we start on the 17th and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So the last day in which the agency has to submit their plan of correction is on December 26th. And certainly you can submit it sooner than that, but that is the last day in which that you can submit it. And you do have the whole day. It's because you can submit at any time on online. You do have the entire day in which to submit that plan of correction. The next step in the process is for the agency to identify a compliance date. So on this calendar, you can see the agency compliance date is the 31st. And that, where you get that date from is when you receive the statement of deficiencies. There is also a letter from the department just outlining that a survey occurred, that it happened at your agency. Also in that letter, typically towards the end, it identifies a compliance date for the agency. And this date typically is just the day in which the department is expecting that the plan of correction, all the items outlined in the plan of correction will be completed. And that is typically different than the day that the POC is due originally, and gives the agency some time in which to complete the items on the plan of correction. It's not longer than the ongoing monitoring. So of course, the POC, you identify ongoing monitoring that you do, for 30, 60, or 90 days after the survey is over. It doesn't include that part. So it's just the initial components of the initial fixes to whatever is broken, and then identifying other areas that need to be fixed as well. It's ensuring that you get those components done and that you have done it by a certain date. After that, there are a couple more areas that we've already discussed, is where the POC is then accepted or rejected by the department. If it's accepted and when it's accepted, then the department will request specific compliance documents to be submitted by a specific date, and then the agency will submit those. The department will review those, and if everything looks good, the department will put the agency back in compliance, and the license is back unencumbered, and the agency is able to operate as usual moving forward. So that's the last step in the process, is the department putting the agency back in compliance. And as you can see on this calendar at the bottom here, it outlines the different steps in the process and what's required and what the different time frames for dates are. And so this is a nice handy tool that I would take out and start to complete once the survey is over. And you'll have to complete as the POC timeline progresses. And just printing this out, hanging this by your office computer so you know what the important dates are and you can keep everything on track.